Trulane, you're
Mm-hmm.
almost there, but no, you're
Warm.
still a bit off. Who writes the editorial? To express your feelings or thoughts about something close, but you're still not there yet.
Come on, guys. Where's the editorial?
So, Miss Dennis, we can't hear her.
Miss Dennis, they cannot hear you clearly for some reason.
Oh, sorry. No, I was reading off the comments. What they're saying, so learning article or leader or senior staff or publisher. Shay is saying an article that gives an opinion of the editors or publishers.
All right, I see some good responses. I definitely is the writing that is either written by the editor, it's someone that is writing under the direction or supervision of the editor itself, and when they write in that particular part of the newspaper, that's the editorial itself. So we also went over tone. And what is tone? Try to refresh my mind, please. Let me know what tone is. What is the tone?
Anonymous. Who's anonymous? Please change your name. So some are saying tone is the person who is speaking, the editor's attitude. Marjorie is saying the mood or feeling.
All right. So definitely, thank you. We know that it to be like someone said, the attitude of the editor, the attitude of the author. It's towards that certain topic. So, and dealing with the editorial, we understand that it falls under two basic categories of modes of writing. Can anybody recall what those two modes of writing are? What is the general nature of the editorials themselves? What two modes of writing do they fall under normally? Come on,
Anyone?
anyone?
Time is saying persuasive.
Okay, anybody else?
And Ashka is saying formal.
Persuasive, formal, any other answers? What two modes of writing? Can you guys recall the various modes of writing? What are the four modes of writing?
So Ashka is saying the formal, which would be expository.
Okay. All right, so definitely are two modes, persuasive or expository in nature, and that is what Mrs. Toot expounded on. Definitely it can be persuasive as well as it can be expository in nature. And so today, basically, we are going to look at uh, types of editorials, and we are going to see examples of them, and then I would like to also see if we can brainstorm a topic, as taking the approach like we are editors or someone under the direction of the editor itself, and we will be seeing if we can brainstorm a topic today as well. So we will be looking at the types of editorials, and we will also be looking at the brainstorming stage, the development of the editorial itself, as well as the structure, the overall structure of it. So let's get started. So basically, and now as already mentioned, the editorial page of any newspaper is the voice of the editorial staff and the readers. All right, it expresses the opinion of wherever the management of the publication feels in relation to the present occasion. So it is the voice of the editorial staff, of those who are in charge of the newspaper. Let's move on, and we will look at we know functions of it. The functions of an editorial writer is that they explain what's going on in the news. All right, they filling in the black background. They forecast the future, predict the future, and they also criticize and passing moral judgment and letting you know, well, this is wrong or this is right or this is how they view it. So they give us that sense of uh, criticism as well. Let me just move to where we like to be. Now, there are four general categories, all right, of or types of editorials. Right here, we will be looking at a couple examples of these various types. All right, so we know that editorials can be informative, all right, and informative are those which just give information, review, or announce certain facts or events. So an example of this we see is here. It says the poverty, high cost of living, school crisis, lack of job opportunities confront common people. Millions of children are victims of undernourishment and deficiency diseases that shorten their life and harm their mental development. Due to the failure of parents to send all their children to school, illiteracy rates are high and are still increasing. Many of us have these problems, but very few are aware that excessive pollution growth is responsible for these pressures, as well as for the lowering of the quality of human resources and development, especially as regards to educational standards. The inclusion of popular education in the school curriculum is then the answer to the need of the younger crop who are bound to face the reality of parenthood in the near future. So a question I like to ask, and because we were dealing with tone, last week, what would be the tone of an editorial like this? What is the tone of this editorial? What is the writer's overall attitude towards this topic, and what is the topic? What's the topic or issue that they're dealing with? All right, students, don't leave me high and dry. What's the overall topic that we are dealing with, and then what is the tone of the editorial? What would you describe the tone as being? Any answers? Anyone?
Lauren is saying serious.
Okay, serious. Anybody else?
CRJ is saying the same. Oscar saying formal. We understand it's formal, Oscar, but what is the tone? Like, what are you getting from it? So they're all, I mean, Julian is saying formal.
Again, responses of serious, formal.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's for the most part. They're saying serious.
Okay.
Why do you think it's serious?
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Tupac.
No, go ahead. That's good. I have no problem with that. Why is it serious? What are some clues that the passage itself gives us? What words that lets us know that this is serious? This is very serious.
So Timmy and Julian is saying it's informative.
Is informative, but I'm looking for okay, informative. It is informative. All right, so we can agree that this is very formal. This is very informative, and we are looking at the tone of seriousness. I think everyone will agree that this is very serious. And a synonym of the word serious I would use is solemn. So, what are words that give us that sense of seriousness? Can anybody locate some words in the passage? What words give us the sense of seriousness?
Okay, so Diage is saying the subject that the writer is talking about made me think he's serious. She's saying she's not too sure.
Okay, all right. Let's look at.
I mean, students, if you think about it, it is serious because it's talking about poverty, high cost of living, schools crisis, lack of job opportunities, confront common people. So all of these matters are serious,
Yes.
right?
Um,
Go ahead, Mr. Walking. Sorry.
Yes.
I just want to add, guys, serious is a very vague term.
Yes, so true.
Okay. So I think what Mr. Toussaint wants is yes, while because I mean multiple articles could be talking about multiple different
Yes.
things
Mm-hmm.
and they could all be serious.
Yes.
But when we're talking about the tone, yes, the tone of something can be serious, but you have to go beyond, you have to delve deeper and get more specific based on what the article or the editorial is talking about. There have to be specific adjectives that you use based on what you read. Okay, and based on what you feel the writer is feeling, or even based on what you feel. And based on what you feel, you should be able to step back and say, okay, well, the writer may have been feeling this because I feel it too. All right. So just think about it like that.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Walking. So you want to be very specific, when you are identifying the tone. And as was already mentioned by Ms. Dennis, even the top sentence itself, the first sentence itself shows you how serious it is. And then you look at the word crisis, you can always think of that, and saying this is something that is very serious that we have to really take note of itself. So this is an informative uh, example, of an editorial. So you want to look at another one, which is interpretive. All right, interpretive, those which explain or bring out the significance of an event, situation, or idea. So we have the example of this editorial, whereas there's an attitude towards study. It says we are in school because we want to learn. Our study is for our own benefit and not to accommodate someone else. As such, we have to relate to our own aims or ambitions in life. We should not think of study merely in terms of quizzes, recitations, homework, term papers, and reports. Putting evaluation upon it in terms of 5, 10, or 20 years from now will give it more meaning to us. The facts, ideas, and principles we acquire now are the stuff which we will, are the stuff with which we will do our own thinking in the future. So, what is this editorial about? Anybody, just based on what we read so far? What would be the subject of this editorial? What is the issue that the editorial is addressing? Hello? hmm Go ahead.
Sorry, Ashka's saying the first paragraph. I think she's saying something about education.
Okay. It's about education and what else?
Think about it, students. okay, so Angel is saying, telling us it is important to study so we can do good in school and become something good in the future. Okay, so Diage is saying our studies. So if I'm reading this first paragraph, I'm looking at we are in school because we want to learn. Our study is for our own benefit and not to accommodate someone else. As such, we have to relate it to our own aims and
Mm-hmm.
ambitions in life. Now, I mean, it does say attitude towards studying. I don't solely believe that we study for our own benefit initially, not solely for our own benefit. Because when you study and you are productive in life, you actually contribute to your community.
Yes.
You actually contribute to your society, to your country. Okay? So, to be honest, even if you're studying and in your mind you're thinking, I'm doing this for me and it's going to benefit me, it doesn't necessarily just benefit you, and especially the line of work you're going in. So if you're going in the line of work of either being a teacher, a doctor, nurse, an engineer, a plumber,
Mm.
a um, contractor, all of these things you're contributing to society. It's not solely just for your benefit. Am I correct, Mr. Walking and Mr. Tucson? I mean, I'm making sense.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree completely. Definitely.
Okay, so I think that's why it says an attitude towards study. I guess and see that's where your opinion comes in, because it's based on your opinion when you're writing to the letter of the editor. Okay, so it's not just based on education, but it's based on how you evaluate, or how do you look at what getting an education will do. Either will benefit you solely or it will do something else, which it will benefit
Mm.
society. Well, that's just based on the first paragraph. I didn't read anything else yet.
Yes. So definitely. So we know that this editorial here, is actually trying to get us to look at, study or look at education in a completely different light. It's trying to bring out the significance of why it's so important for us to take our education seriously, and that goes under that same purpose, interpretative. All right, those which explain or bring out the significance of an event, situation, or idea. So it's bringing out the significance of education.
Mhm.
All right, and that is what we see here. So there are some editorials that just cause us to look at ideas or situations in a totally different light. It brings out the significance of the event. It brings out the significance of the situation, itself. So we see how there's at the conclusion it says, looking at the bottom part of it, let's remember too that how we learn is sometimes more important than what we learn. So in other words, not just learning the ABCs, but also your mentality, your attitude towards education
Mhm.
itself is important. And that's why some succeed and some don't, simply because of their attitude towards education, towards studying. All right, if you see education as a bore, you see as a chore, you see as something that will not benefit you, then chances are you may not do well.
Mhm.
So the attitude is very, very important, and that is what this editorial is bringing forward to us.
And also, sorry, Ms. Tucson, I want to chime in by saying also, it also says here that it's systematic about study will do a lot. It also says here about, like Mr. Tucson said, how we learn is sometimes more important than what we learn. So, for instance, some of you, online learning may not be the best. way of your that might be not be your learning the way that you learn, right? Or it may not be conducive to you being able to retain what you need or what you want. But at the same time, like Mr. Tucson said, it's not about just learning the ABCs. It's not about in language. You're just learning how to create sentences. If you cannot use it into isolation. You able to create, if you're able to spell and create sentences, then you're able to create paragraphs and essays. When you're able to do that, when you leave school, you're
Yes.
able to fill out application forms.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to fill out college applications. You're
Yes,
able
that's
to
right.
actually function on the job. You're able to read rules, regulations. You're able to comprehend, hopefully, how things should and shouldn't be done based on a memo coming out on the job.
Yes.
So if a memo comes out and it talks about uniforms and how you should wear the proper attire, how you should have this, you should have your badge on, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. You're able to understand what what is expected of you as a person who works on the job. So the connection is not just solely, oh, I'm in school to get an education because my mom wants me to get an education. No, it should be that I am to school, I'm learning whatever I'm learning. And like it said here, not everything that you learn, you're going to use. Some of you say, oh, I don't need to learn algebra. I'm never going to use algebra. But let me tell you, if you want to be a nurse, or if you want to be a contractor, or if you want to be someone who's dealing with computers and all of that good
Yeah.
stuff, those are some of the things that you will have to learn
Yes.
because they will be applied to the area that you're in. All of this is a connection. You're connecting the dots. Everything may not be applicable, but for the most part, you're able to take bits and pieces and use it to your advantage because you know it. Knowing is the advantage. Not knowing can pose a serious problem. All right.
All right. Very good. All right. So definitely we see the importance of our attitude towards education itself. And moving on, we also see, and I think this will be like one of the last examples I deal with right now. Editorials of crusade and reform, and those which criticize certain conditions, then suggest a solution or change, or which give a message of reform without necessarily pointing out a problem or a bad condition. All right, so we have the editorials, and some of them criticize, as we will see. There are four main types. So, example, the way of most deaths. This is interesting. Student judges who inspected every room in connection with Operation Cleanliness found out that most of the desks had scratches and or ink spots. One can hardly write on them without a thick sheet of paper for a pad. Outside the classrooms, some desks are a place for the students to sit on. Students really take advantage of them. They sit on top of the desk and place their muddy shoes on the seats instead. When the 220 new desks for passage line will be made available for the students' use, will they end up the way most desks go? So you can see it's criticizing. All right, and where is it criticizing?
Hmm.
What is this editorial criticizing? You could type that in the chat.
Or who is this speaking to? Who is this criticizing?
Hmm.
Who scratched up the desk? Who put ink spots in the desk or on the desk?
Hmm.
Okay, so Time is saying the students. So Julian is saying the way the desk look, or
Hmm.
yes, or the conditions. Yes. So
Yes.
definitely they're talking to students because it said outside the classroom, some desks are placed for the students to sit on. Students really take advantage of them. Now, Mr. Walking, Miss Tudor, Mr. Tucson, we see this all the time.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I get annoyed
Cool.
because I normally ask students, did you bring this here or did you personally pay for this?
Yes. Critical questions to ask.
Like, come on now. They have chairs and desks in the classroom, and the first thing you're going to sit on is
It's
the
a
desk.
desks. Why do y'all do that? But anyway, let me answer that. All right. There's a chair, right? Why would you bypass the chair and go sit on the
Yep.
desk? You know? But I don't know.
So Alexis is saying it criticizing the way students keep the desk.
Okay. Yeah, then.
Carmelo would feel better, but instead of sitting on the desk that you didn't buy, when you go home, you sit on your mother's table. That probably may be better, but not sitting on a desk that you did not pay for. And I'm sure you can't do that at your mother's house. So that is where the problem comes in. You can't do certain things home, but then when you come here or when you go anywhere else, you do the opposite of what you cannot do home. That's a moral issue.
Yes. All right. So you see that as criticizing, all right? And you can see the critical emphasis is being placed on how these desks are being kept. So I love the answers. I love the feedback, I'm getting from this. So we see that this editorial criticizes, all right? And we have other editorials. We will not get into editorials on special occasions. And we definitely have editorials that praise or commend. All right, is one of the main types of editorials as well. Let me move on. There's a bunch that's seen here. I really want to get to this. The pre-writing. We know that writing goes into various stages. And the first stage of writing is editorial. Or writing anything is the pre-writing stage where you plan what you are going to write or what you are going to talk about. And we have the first thing that you need to do is choose a topic. You can choose to tackle any of the issues, events, faces appearing in the news, but try as much as possible to make the editorial require the following values. And first, it must be current and timely, something that's very recent, makes a good topic for editorial, substantive, all right, in terms of information, given, office insight. So you want to, at the end of the day, give insight, and you want your editorial as well to be free of conflict of interest. Um, so I want to look at these, and I guess this is where we'll start. So the pre-writing planning with the right stage. All right, you want to obtain the background material and information about your topic. Observe, read, interview. All right, so this is where you go and you search, do your search wherever it is to get the information on the particular topic of your choice. Then you also want to identify your purpose and audience. Will it narrate, inform, or do you want to interpret, criticize, suggest reforms, urge readers to action? So what's the purpose of your editorial? And here we see four main purposes, four main types. We see explain or interpret the way the newspaper covered a sensitive or controversial area. All right, so it explains what's going on and what the newspaper covered that day. You have criticize, and we read an example of that with the death. All right, so criticize actions, decisions, or situations. praise is another main type of editorial. All right, and praise to commend people or organizations for a job well done. So editorials of praise also are there, where you just highlighting the good, of experiences, the good of organizations or people. And then you have persuade, which is this editorial that persuades to get readers immediately to see the solution and not the problem. Right now, I just want to give an acronym. Let me see if I can pull up. All right. Well, it blanked out. I'll forget about that then. All right. The acronym will have been RAF, and RAF stands for role, audience, format, and topic. So whenever you're approaching a topic, you want to, at the end of the day, keep in mind where's your role as a writer. You also want to keep in mind who are you speaking to, or who will this essay, who will this editorial be addressed to. You also want to think about the format, and in this case, it's the editorial itself. But the format, when you are a writer, can be a letter, it can be an essay, it can be in many different forms. And then the topic. All right. So at this time, what I really want to do is to brainstorm a topic. And can we pull up the whiteboard? Is it possible?
Mr. Walking, would you be able to put up the whiteboard, please?
Just give me 1 minute.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
There we go.
Let me see. It's up? Oh.
It's coming up.
And we don't have that much time, so I don't know if we can get through. But at least if we can start it, it'll give us an idea.
Danny, can you put in the chat what grade are you in? You're in 10 what? Can you put it in the chat, please? Sorry. Danny Caburn.
I don't know if we have the time. All right, so just going over what we talked about. Remember that there are editorials, and can anyone remind me of what are the purposes or types of editorials that we just discussed? Can you remember? Can you recall? I think we may have to leave that for another time because it's time left.
Yeah, you put 10 more minutes.
Yeah. Anyone? What? All right. Informative. Praise. Okay. Anybody else? What are editorials used for? What are the purposes, types of editorials? I see praise. All right. All right. I see criticize. Any other? All right. Persuade. Criticizing. Persuasive. Okay. You guys basically mentioned, explain. You mentioned the various types. Very good. All right, so we have definitely criticize. All right, we know persuade is also there. We also know that praise, and there's another one I forgot. I know somebody mentioned it. What was that one? Very good, nice. So what's the update with the whiteboard, Mr. Walking?
Um, I opened it up. You don't see it?
No, I guess I don't have that feature.
It's
Oh
just
yeah, I could see it.
yeah, it's just spinning like there's just a it's up.
Yeah, it's up on
Definitely it's
my
up.
end.
Okay, I can see it. I can't see it, but let's just think of the topic of relationship, and I just want to ask the question. All right, just a fun topic. What makes a good relationship? So let's say the topic is relationship then, and we type that in as a topic, relationship. What would be some key points that we have under that topic? Just to conclude, we have about 9 more minutes. I would like to actually have this as a group, but that won't be possible today.
So some are saying communication, honesty, trust, honesty, respect, loyalty.
Okay, so what about communication? Let's pick on that. What about communication, Ashka? What about communication? So we're dealing with a topic, let's say, just based on communication, based on relationship. What does communication has to play with? How does communication makes a good relationship? All right, sometimes you're saying if you mad, you can't expect your partner to read your mind, so you have to talk to them. All right,
Okay.
I agree with you completely. All right. I agree with you completely. All right, especially females. Sometimes I get that. All right,
Oh Lord. Hi.
all right, but we ain't gonna get into that debate. All right. Uh,
So what about timing? What about communicating in an editorial? In order for you to have a good editorial based on communication, then what do you have to do with your communication? Your communication have to be what? It has to be what? Because based on your based on what your example, which is true, that means you're not, if you're not able to communicate, that means there's what? All right, so you're able to describe your emotion through words. Okay, good. That means you're able to express how you feel through writing. Yes.
mm,
What else? And if you're writing an editorial, you have to be a what communicator. If you're in a relationship with someone, or if you're writing an editorial, which is you're using communication, you have to be a what writer.
mm.
Starts with E. Yes, excellent. But yes, Triana, clear. You have to be clear. You have to be what? Oh, not really experienced. A lot of persons who write editorials, they're not really experienced. I mean, the persons who edit them are. You have to be an effective writer. So, for instance, if you're writing a letter, to the editor talking about why students should come to school face to face. You have to be an effective communicator. You have to be able to express yourself through words. Okay? You have to be able to express yourself and be clear while you express yourself. Because if you're not able to put your words on paper, based on your thought, you're not able to put your words on paper and your words make sense, then you're not an effective communicator. Okay? So that's what we mean by communication. You have to be able to express yourself in a way that the reader is able to, the reader is able to get the tone. Okay, they're able to understand. Okay, I totally understand that this editorial is concerned. It's a concerning editorial about students saying that they cannot get online. That's where communication comes in. If you're not able to communicate, then you lose your reader. Sorry, Mr.
No, it's
Sorry.
all right. It's all right, definitely. So you want think in terms of communication, all right, and having that a sense of connection. You want to have that connection with the readers, making sure that your words are clear, precise, making sure that you're giving off the right tone that you like for them to get. All right, from it. So communication is very, very important. And this in terms of that relationship between the writer and their audience.
Mhm.
So you want to have that as well. All right. And so, with that said, you remember the various types we mentioned. Remember the praise. Remember criticize. So we see the purposes and editorials. They can praise. They can criticize. All right. They inform. They do a lot of things. They persuade. So there's a lot of uses for editorials out there. All right. And so encourage you to remember that. And you are dismissed until we meet again.
So remember, guys, sign the register. Mr. Walking posted it in the group twice. I just see him posted again.